Welcome to the Haggis Reddit. Today's threads come from r/AskReddit and we'll be exploring the community's answers to these questions. What screams poorly educated? What kind of people don't you trust? What makes you feel old? And the last thing you googled is what kills you? So how do you die? As always, please do get involved in the comments section and answer any or all of these questions. I'd love to see what you come up with, and now let's jump right in. What screams poorly educated? Treating people who speak with an accent like they are ignorant or inferior. These people are literally communicating to you in a second language to them, using buzzwords without knowing what they mean, especially when you ask them to clarify what they're talking about and they continue regurgitating the same buzzwords. Yeah, mate, I know exactly what you mean. I find those individuals rapaciously repugnant and incapable of the quintessential paradigm shift that would delineate them in favourable lights for their self-aggrandizing holistic approach in such conversations. Reading a headline and thinking you now know the whole story. Having pride in not knowing something. That always shocks me, but it's pretty common. Some people make ignorance the core of their personality to the point that they're actually proud of all the things they don't know. These are the same people who brag about not having read a book since high school. Everybody that calls me a loser, tighten up. Hey, over there, you're a loser too. There. Thinking that getting a pay raise means you'll make less money because you're in a higher tax bracket. I will never understand flat earthers. You can literally see the curvature of Earth depending on where you are. Don't try to reason someone out of an idea they didn't reason themselves into. Being really loud for no reason. I see you've met my sister. 99% of our customers recommend us. Yeah, because the people who didn't like your company are no longer customers. Having no basic geography knowledge. I had a conversation with a girl from the States who thought that Paris was in London, and when I mentioned Paris was in France and that in actual fact there's two different countries with their own language in play here, the response I got was, yeah, still the same thing though, really, isn't it? I said, sure, so long as you're okay with Canada being the capital of Texas. And funnily enough, that's when she looked at me like I was the idiot. And she was right, just not for the reasons she thought. What kind of people don't you trust? People who always feel the need to play the victim in every situation. People who always talk smack about other people. They do the same thing to you, so don't make the mistake of confiding in them. People who say, trust me. People who say my name 30 times in a sentence. I'll tell you what, Dan, that's a great idea, Dan. Why don't we do that, Dan? I'll call you Dan. Okay, Dan? Tells me that person took a sales course. A really outdated one that teaches the BS that the sweetest sound in the world is hearing your own name. Passive-aggressive people. That's what I was going to say, but whatever. People that make politics their personality. Amen to that. Username checks out. Some people are just too smooth. You can tell that whatever they're saying isn't entirely genuine, and it's clear that they want something from you, but unclear what happens if you give it to them, how they'll treat you, etc. I do not give anything to manipulative weirdos. Ah yes, it sounds like you're talking about The Seducer here. Robert Greene is a good author to check out if you're interested in the sinister nature of human beings, and he explains this better than I ever could. Influencers. Well, I don't consider myself one of them. I can't even influence my children to get up in time for school in the morning. In case you're interested, the people I personally don't trust are those who use negativity to strike up the conversations, starting with something seemingly innocent like, horrible weather, isn't it? No, it isn't. It's just raining, and I like the rain. I find someone who wants to find a gripe in common as their way of getting to know you or be friendlier is to be looked at carefully in case this is their habitual routine, because, you know, you let people into your life, they're going to have their energy on display, and that's going to affect you more than you realise. There's nothing wrong with a good moan now and again, of course, but I think pattern recognition in people is quite important. What makes you feel old? My tween son calling me cringe. I interviewed someone the other day as part of a new grad program we have, and they were born after I graduated. They found it funny. I'm sure their chances of getting that job went through the roof after they laughed at you. Just don't tell me they exited by the roof. Doctors are younger than me now. I was talking with the daughter of a friend. She's 15. She told me, Harry Potter is an old people thing. I wasn't even born yet. Obliviate. I tried to pull something remotely similar to an all-nighter recently and got about 3 hours sleep. I want to die. Listening to Nirvana today is the same as listening to the Beatles in the 90s. The 90s wasn't actually 10 years ago. The fact that we're closer to 2050 than we are to 1995. I look in the mirror and that 72-year-old face looking back at me says it all. Not knowing any of the newer artists at festivals, I was listening to the radio and realised I didn't like the new music on it. and gradually the realization and horror crept in. The fact that children who were born in 2016 to 2017 are going to go to school. It feels like it's been like 2 years ago, having to scroll and scroll and scroll to find my birth year when completing an online form. I make a noise when I sit down / get up. Man, I'm 17 and I did that. What? When people say 30 years ago, and they mean the 1990s, not the 1960s. I'm an older first-time parent. Ran into someone I knew from high school when I went to pick up my son from daycare. She was there to pick up her grandson. Hearing snap, crackle, pop, and then pouring my cereal. For me personally, I don't really think in terms of feeling old or not. I guess I notice that I choose my battles more carefully these days, let a lot of things go that used to matter a great deal to me, and they're now just a shrug of the shoulders. Also, I'm 43, so my 70-year-old neighbour calls me a youngster, and the kids down the street think I'm a fossil. The last thing you googled is what kills you, so how do you die? I die trying to find out how to spell rhubarb. Before you die, teach us how it's spelled. We will honour your sacrifice. Did I spell it wrong? Well, I'm not going back to look it up again. That's how I die, you know. Reddit is apparently going to kill me. Why does my anus sting? Sorry to hear it turned out to be terminal. Oppenheimer. And I'm taking half of my state with me. 0.87 tons to pounds. So I guess math will be the death of me? Cougars in my area. Joke's on you when you get mauled by actual cougars. Paper cuts, I guess. Gruesome. Can you cook fish in a dishwasher? So I guess not thoroughly. So I'll get involved with this one as well. The last thing I googled was my osteopath. Needless to say, I'm cancelling that appointment. Why not toss a like to the haggis if you enjoyed this video, and if you're interested in daily content, please subscribe and I'll catch you on the next one. Later.